Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely rethink how you consume information. Think about it for a second. How many articles, newsletters, podcasts, and books do you actually consume in a single week? It's a massive amount, right? Well, today, we're diving into a system that transforms all that reading from a totally passive activity into this beautifully interconnected web of ideas that literally practically writes itself. So if you've ever felt like your reading habits just aren't translating into usable knowledge, well, you're in the exact right place.
Okay, let's just dive right into this massive frustration. You know the feeling. You spend hours reading an incredible book, you feel totally inspired by the concepts, but then, a week later, the insights are completely gone. Poof, it's like they just evaporated. Author David Kadavi actually points out that reading without a proper system means you're exposing yourself to great ideas, sure, but you're failing to retain them. We need a way to turn that fleeting inspiration into permanent, easily accessible knowledge.
Section 1. Solving the blank page. Develop your ideas.
So instead of staring at an empty screen, just praying for inspiration to strike, imagine having these short, pre-written passages that you can effortlessly stitch together. It's kind of like building with Lego blocks, instead of trying to mold a sculpture out of wet clay right from scratch. When you use the system we're about to discuss, you literally never start with nothing. You already have this amazing reservoir of your own developed ideas, neatly packaged into distinct blocks, just sitting there ready to be assembled into a rough draft at a moment's notice. How cool is that?
And this brings us to a really brilliant concept, what we call the anti-Google pivot. Look, we live in a world of instant gratification, right? Our very first instinct is always to just search the web for answers. But this system, it forces a habit of accessing your own thoughts. You use your notes to jog your memory, actively building your own thought leadership rather than just sort of borrowing someone else's on the fly. It's an absolute game changer.
Section 2. What is a Zettelkasten? Connect your ideas.
At its core, a Zettelkasten isn't just some digital storage locker. It's a non-hierarchical method of organizing your notes. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, contrast it with traditional computer folders, where one file lives inside one specific folder, like a rigid filing cabinet. A Zettelkasten is way more like a spiderweb of thoughts. The whole purpose here is to help you explore totally unexpected connections amongst all your notes. It actually hijacks our notoriously short attention spans, allowing us to interact with small notes and continuously build these organic bridges between ideas.
This concept originally started as a literal box filled with paper slips and metadata to organize them. The inventor, a German sociologist named Niklas Luhmann, actually used this exact paper box method to write an astonishing 70 books and 400 articles in his lifetime. Yeah, let that sink in. It's a huge testament to the system's incredible power. But while the analog version is legendary, bringing this concept into the digital age allows you to manage these small notes seamlessly, capturing the absolute best thoughts you've ever had directly from your phone.
Section 3. Digital versus paper notes. Comparing formats.
Now, there is a clear, honest trade-off between digital and paper here. Paper absolutely offers better focus, mainly because it lacks all those internet distractions, and research even shows writing by hand increases memory retention. But honestly, digital notes win overwhelmingly on almost every other front. They offer instant searchability across your entire database. They're backed up securely in the cloud, so no, you can't lose them to a spilled cup of coffee. And the sheer speed of typing, linking, and collaborating is just completely unmatched. So, the crucial takeaway is to use digital tools to your advantage. But, and this is a big but, you must ensure your system doesn't break down over time. Think about what happens when you try to open some proprietary file format from, say, 15 years ago. It's usually corrupted or completely unreadable, right? The best practice here is to keep your files in plain text or markdown formats. Doing this guarantees your notes will outlive whatever software happens to be trendy right now, ensuring they remain easily readable, raw, and totally accessible decades down the line.
Section 4. The 3 types of notes. Anatomy of a Zettelkasten. First up, we have fleeting notes. These generally live right in your inbox. Think of these as things you capture entirely on the fly. It could be an exported highlight from a book sent via an app like Readwise, maybe a profound quote you heard on a podcast, a tweet you really liked, or even just a couple of words scratched into a pocket notebook to jog your memory. Basically, it's just enough information to let you decide later if it's actually worth keeping. Next, you take those raw, fleeting thoughts and process them into what we call literature notes. Honestly, this is where the magic really starts. You review the media you consumed and write these condensed, informal summaries absolutely in your own words. That part is absolutely crucial. It forces you to actively engage with the material.
You're not just mindlessly copying and pasting everything, you're developing the vital skill to distinguish the truly essential information from all the extra fluff.
Finally, you distill those summaries down into permanent notes. This is the absolute gold standard of the Zettelkasten method. Each permanent note must contain just one single idea. That's it. You write it out, assign it keywords, and crucially, you link it to other related notes already in your system. By restricting each note to just one single idea, they become perfectly modular. They basically turn into the fundamental mix-and-match building blocks of your future articles or books.
Section 5. Building your knowledge web. Absorb what you read. Okay, so here is your 4-step workflow in action. Let's imagine you're reading a book on habit building. Step 1, you read and highlight the interesting passages about, say, morning routines in your ebook. Step 2 is super crucial. You highlight your highlights. See, when you're reading, you're focused on the text, so later you need to review your exports and isolate only the absolute best, most actionable parts. Step 3, condense those key takeaways into a literature note in your own words. And finally, step 4, break that summary down into individual single-idea permanent notes. So maybe you'd have one specific note purely on habit stacking. This active rewriting process is exactly what ensures you actually absorb what you read.
Now, to make this web truly powerful, you really need smart organization. Name your files memorably, which is actually a concept mirrored by Rohit Bhargava in his book, Non-Obvious, so you understand the core idea instantly without needing any extra explanation. Use keywords and tags to connect your notes associatively. By doing this, organizing your notes becomes just enough of a fun challenge to spark new ideas without completely wearing you out, and it naturally leads to completed writing projects.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. In a world that's entirely optimized for instant gratification, where everyone else is just instantly regurgitating the top search results, what are you doing? Are you building your own unique, interconnected web of thought leadership, or are you simply borrowing someone else's? Start building your digital Zettelkasten today and just watch your own ideas come to life.